Welcome back to Joy of the Hang, everyone. Lauren, how are you doing today?
As always, Sharon, I am fantastic.
I'm so happy to hear that.
How are you?
I am great. And you're just getting back from LA. You're doing some traveling again.
Yes, I did the red eye, and so arrived here at about 8 a.m. this morning and feel fresh as a daisy.
You're better than I am. I would not be here if I just got in from the red eye. Well, we have two guests today that I want to introduce you to. Let me just say, what if the clarity, alignment, and power you've been chasing weren't something to strive harder for, but something to remember? In today's episode of Joy of the Hang, we sit down with Christy Erbeck and Bridie Gauthier of Dynamic Synergy Partners. Two women whose work lives at the intersection of strategy, soul, and something you can't quite put your finger on, but you feel it. Together, they carry a body of knowledge that's been quietly passed down through powerful circles for generations. Wisdom most people never even know exists, let alone get access to. Their private consulting work is invitation only. Their October event, Synergy Shift, is already drawing women across industries who are ready to move from chaos to coherence, from burnout to precision, from striving to knowing. This conversation isn't just about leadership or transformation. It's about remembering who you are beneath all the noise. It's one you'll carry with you long after it ends. So let's get into it. Welcome, Bridie and Christy.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great having you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And not to dumb it down at all, Sharon, or overly simplify it, but I do want to make the comment to all our listeners, because they can't see us, that if they are half as good as they are at styling themselves and perfecting the chic bob, then they must be outrageously fantastic at their careers.
Oh, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
It's not sweet, it's just, I speak the truth. I speak the truth.
Well, I can't wait to hear about what Dynamic Synergy Partners is and means. So if you can tell us what sparked that idea and why this partnership and this mission now. Who wants to start? And they're both pointing at each other.
That's because we usually start talking at the same time.
Okay, then I will pick one. Bridie, why don't you start? I feel like a teacher. Bridie, would you please start?
Well, Dynamic Synergy Partners, it all started with a birthday party invitation, believe it or not. Christy and I met in the nonprofit sector elsewhere, and very slowly started to notice one another and had the desire to get to know each other a little bit better. And it culminated in Be Swanky, believe it or not, the wonderful Gretchen Bauer.
I believe it.
Christy won what was it described as, a private event?
A private atelier experience with Be Swanky.
Okay.
Where I could invite 5 girlfriends, and I chose to make that my birthday party. So every year I celebrate my birthday beginning on February 1st until the last day of February.
That is my kind of girl. My kind of girl.
We all should do that.
And I love celebrating with my girlfriends. And so I chose 5 people to attend the birthday party. And Bridie, unfortunately, was not able to attend. But we were able to loop her in another way a little bit later.
It was very special. I very unexpectedly had to leave the corporate world and become a caregiver for one of my parents. All well and good now, but I was removed from Florida for quite a while, and I was up in Canada, and so they found a very special way to loop me into that by video. So I bought my first Be Swanky bag virtually. And so
Before we move on, let's tell our listeners who don't know what Be Swanky is, what that is. So Be Swanky is a local Sarasota business, and it was born of the vision of Gretchen Bauer, and she makes one-of-a-kind bespoke handbags here in Sarasota, and they're amazing. And she brings these beautiful women all together, myself included. So we were introduced, and Lauren, and we were all introduced through Gretchen. So not only is she a great handbag atelier, she is also an amazing connector of beautiful women. So please continue.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. And so, because of this unexpected shift in my personal life, I never got to give Christy her birthday present. And this was long before we had ever connected outside of the corporate space. And I finally was able to return to Florida many, many months later. And we reconnected, and I said, I still have your birthday gift from February. And it was a book called Trust the Universe. And the book was, it's written by a local author, Stephanie Keith. She also has a podcast. And she was another wonderful connector. And so we met at a Panera and just started talking.
Oh, I love that. Trust Your Universe. Is that, or
Trust the Universe.
Trust the Universe.
Yes.
And the author is, again?
Stephanie Keith.
Stephanie Keith. Check it out, everyone.
And can you give us sort of, small little notes about what you would say the book is about, sort of the Cliff Notes version, if you will?
The premise is trusting the universe, letting go of any preconceived notions that you have about how things come to be and happen, and trust the universe, trust your intuition, that the things that are happening are meant to happen in perfect order, perfect timing. There is really no such thing as chaos. It all is conspiring to work together for your benefit and all of the things that you're looking to accomplish.
So, Bridie, you give Christy her birthday present finally. You get the book. And then are you already brewing this idea?
I'm reading the book and we're talking, and there were just so many moments, even prior to this particular conversation, where I would think, gosh, there's something about Bridie that I want to know more. And later on, I found out she had a similar feeling about me. But in that moment, when I'm sitting in our bourbon room and having a conversation with Bridie, I said, Bridie, we need to do something together. There is something here that is super special. We are speaking a language that very few people understand, and we have such similar thoughts from different perspectives about that thought. And there is something very unique and special that we need to curate. We need to dig into this and bring this to life, because we can make a difference in a lot of people's lives if and when we come together and start working together.
And I have your bio, but if you'll tell our listeners a little bit about your backgrounds and what made you think that would be a good match. So maybe you can start, Bridie.
I'd be happy to. So I'm a neuroscientist, and my specialty is applied neuroplasticity. So I'm not working with lab rats, I'm working with humans.
Lauren and I just looked at each other
Just looked at each
what?
other, and I'm prepared for my... Exactly.
I know, we're like, what?
I think we need to dumb it down a little.
My passion is helping individuals, organizations, and teams align the systems of their body to maximize potential and live their dream, whatever that is.
I love that. And you come at it from what perspective? What's your background?
I'm an organizational psychologist, and I've spent about 30 years in the corporate space, as well as private businesses, helping organizations create healthy teams and elevate their performance at the individual and team level. And a lot of what I used to do and still do is go in and diagnose what's working, what's not working, and how we bridge the gap and move them from that place of dysfunction or struggle into a place of ease and flow and enormous success.
That must be such a difficult job to do, though, and that I would think or assume that when you enter into one of these companies or organizations, that people, once knowing what you were there to do, might be slightly on edge or not, demonstrate their true character. How do you navigate around that?
Mm-hmm. That's normal human behavior.
Right.
I think what's really important to understand is that we work with the human first, and the humans then within that organization. So the story that you just shared is not untrue. People will look at me and say, oh my gosh, here comes Christy, she's gonna put me on the couch. And I say, no, I'm not a clinical psychologist, I'm an organizational psychologist. So I wanna look at the systems and the processes and the behaviors that are showing up in the organization and help you solve those problems so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. Because if you are not aligned on the personal level and at the team level to a shared purpose that you can buy into, you can get on board with, the organization is going to struggle to succeed. So do some people turn and run when I show up? Yes, but they learn to love me.
They learn to love you.
And now us. And,
Yeah.
you know, so for Dynamic Synergy Partners, we do that. We go in and we look at and assess the health of the organization, the health of the leadership team. If there's a merger or acquisition, help them come together as a united team so that they can achieve the success that they want to achieve.
So I want to get back to this, but I want to ask both of you. So Lauren and I started our partnership in January with the podcast.
Correct.
So I have a question for you, working as new partners. How do you handle maybe times when you don't feel like you're in alignment, or are there times when there are struggles, or one person wants to do something and the other person's like, that's not really the direction I want to go? Like, and I'm not saying we have that issue. I'm just curious if you all do and how you would work through that as a partnership. Because, oftentimes people do podcasts alone. Why do you need a partner, right? And so in your business, do you find it's easier working with a partner? Do you have little hiccups along the way? So maybe, Christy, you can take that one first and let me know because I can see you nodding your head. So do you understand what I'm asking? And
I do.
Okay, great.
So conflict is normal in
Yeah.
any relationship. It's a matter of how do you handle the conflict. And
Yeah.
early on, we talked about that in the very beginning. And we said there should never be a time when we can't have a conversation about something that's bothering us. And when that time comes, then we need to have a different conversation. And our whole goal is harmony between Bridie and me. And we find that by discussing and sharing our intentions from the very beginning of what is it that we want, what is it that we need, what are we willing to give, what do we want to gain. And by staying in harmony, we have been able to navigate any adjustments, and often it's asking questions to clarify what I think I heard, so that I don't get stuck up in my own head and the story I'm telling myself, and then I project based on my history what I believe her to be saying or implying. No, I just have to get it out, verbalize it, and ask the question. I heard this. It landed like this for me. What did you actually mean, right? And then we have that conversation.
Yeah, that's great language.
Well, I think that's a great question, Sharon, and I think that's a great answer. And certainly demonstrates the fact for what you do and your expertise that it, is something that's valuable, whether it's 2 people, 5 people, 100 people can still benefit from the lessons that you learn in terms of navigating, working well with one another, producing well with one another. I think that's important, learning how to navigate any difference of opinion.
Yeah, and we're not born with those tools in our toolbox. So these are things we have to learn, right? I mean,
Learn and practice.
Learn and practice, yeah.
It's a fundamental principle of Dynamic Synergy Partners is we don't teach anything we don't practice ourselves. So everything theoretically that we've learned, we have figured out how to apply it, because I don't care who you are, when the rubber meets the road, the theory is going to fly out the window if you haven't really looked at it in terms of the application.
Right.
And then adjusted based on the situation.
And I know you do it obviously at the corporate level, but it's in listening to you, I find it fascinating and find myself thinking how valuable you could be in personal relationships, married couples, families. I mean, talk about an organization that needs to get along, and when you have different personalities and you have 3 kids, 2 kids, 4 kids, and the parents, this seems like something that just in every aspect of life can be valuable. And I can imagine that a lot of people in the companies you've met along the way, I would hope, and I'm sure they do, go home and use it besides just in the office, but on a personal level.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we do also have a large host of private clients as well for those specific reasons.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so I'm working on, and it often comes from, sometimes we go into a corporation and they say, I see the value in this. What about me and my life, me and my family, me and my relationship or my dynamics? So it all comes down to the human.
It does. And some of the most beautiful stories that we have are of those corporate CEOs who then later share that they learned something we gave them and then turned and shared it with their children or their spouse. And it's so emotional, it's so powerful for us to know that we're helping them beyond who they are as a CEO leader, but their family leader too.
Which makes sense because everything trickles into every aspect of our life. So for someone to think that if they're not having good relationships at home, that is not in any way going to trickle into their work life. It doesn't seem possible that someone would think that way.
Yeah, and since you just brought it up, it leads to my next question. Can you share a powerful before and after story of a leader or team that made this shift?
For sure. We have one team that when we first started working with them, they were operating in very tactically. So very tactically, and part of my background is strategic planning at the corporate level. And what we both noticed was that they were operating in chaos and just basically trying to throw whatever they could at the wall to see what would stick and then clean up the mess. And they were spinning their wheels and churning.
And stuck in the weeds.
And stuck in the weeds, right? The whole concept of you can't see the forest for the trees. The executives were not pulling themselves up frequently enough with enough intention. And we worked with them on their strategic plan and their strategic vision. And just that shift gave them, 1, a language to share with the team, 2, gave themselves at the executive level something to really think about and a different way of operating than they had been. And they saw the value of, okay, I need to let the team work in the weeds while I'm up here, because if I'm not setting and creating and casting the vision for where we're going, we're not going to go anywhere, number 1. And 2, these guys are just going to churn and burn out and leave. And that's really what was happening. So less than a year later, they're operating with a strategic vision, a strategic plan, and they have retained their employees. Everybody's operating, going in the right direction.
I was going to say, what key metrics do you use to measure success? Is it so that one was employee retention?
Retention, profitability.
Okay, all the above.
All of the above.
All the things you would imagine. Okay.
And even their ability to say no. They were not saying no to anything. And so when you don't say no to something, you're saying yes to everything. And if you have multiple number 1 priorities, you have no priorities.
So a quote that kept coming up for me this morning, I was listening to Mel Robbins today at the gym, and a quote that kept coming up was, we are born, but we are not built. So does that resonate with you at all? Meaning that we all have to learn how to build our life. So meaning that, yes, we're born, but we're not born with confidence. We're not born with maybe the tools to succeed, right? But we are built by all the choices that we make. Does that make sense? And is that a tool that you all use in your business? I don't know why that kept coming up for me this morning. I feel like I was meant to bring it up. Yeah. So.
Well, then you definitely were meant to.
I know. I feel like I was meant to bring it up.
And yes, that is it doesn't come with the birth certificate.
Right. So just with your coaching, I would imagine that you're trying to build those skills within a team environment, right? Confidence and all of that.
We're equipping them,
Equipping them, okay.
right? We're equipping them with the tools, the language, the mindset of thinking differently than maybe how they were trained or what they learned in school and how to think about a problem. We're equipping them with structures for existence or processes or there's so many things that small business need, and that's different than what large companies need. But in the excuse me, in the end, people need structure and they need help equipping themselves in a variety of ways. So they might have gotten to a certain point in their life, in their career, and now they want to go to that next level.
Yeah.
And they don't know how. So we equip them to go to that next level.
So I would imagine too, though, that the not knowing how, part of it might be fear-based, right? Part of it is their own internal dialogue. So are you able to root that out from them? As that's probably something that, Bridie, you do a lot, is really talk to them and figure out what's behind the blocks.
Yeah, we both do a lot of listening.
Yeah.
And as Christy said, equipping.
Right.
Here's the tool. Here's how you use it.
Yeah.
You have to use it. You have to draw it out.
Yeah.
I can guide you to the water, but I can't make you drink it.
Okay, that's a good way to put it, yeah.
Mhm.
Have you ever had a client that you walk away going, gosh, I just don't know if I can help them, give them the tools. I don't know if they're going to make the transition in the way that, I don't know if I'm the right person to help them kind of have their big breakthrough. Have you guys ever had that where you've had to say, you know what, this just isn't working? Or do you feel?
We really haven't, and the
Okay.
reason is we put, particularly with the private client experience, we put so much effort on the front end of the intake process and making sure that that person is truly ready for
Ready
it
to
and
receive.
looking for what we can do for them and with them. We've declined taking on a private client once we've gone through that process. But if you're talking about in the middle having to say,
Yeah, this isn't working. I'm leading you to water and you're not drinking, damn it. And you're just not drinking. Yeah.
fortunately we have not had to do that. And
Okay.
I personally credit a huge part of that to the amount of work we put in on the front end.
So
To make sure
speaking
it's
of the front end, when I said your intro, it's by invitation only. What does that mean? Like if I wanted to work with you and you guys, you have to come to me, I can't come to you. Is that what that means?
No.
No. Okay. What's that mean?
I'm not really sure where that came from. We
Okay.
work on mostly on referral. I would say
Okay.
we have grown our business, and the interesting part of our story is that we basically came together and said, Bridie and Christy, we need to work together. Yes. I felt like the next moment we had clients.
Oh, wow.
Before we had a name.
Really? Okay.
So if all of the work that we've been doing has been referral. People have heard about us, they've seen us on LinkedIn, they've seen us on Instagram, or they heard us on a different podcast, or they know someone who knows us, and they said, how do I, please help me? And then we have the conversation. We are not exclusive in saying, oh no, if you don't know how to do it.
Oh, good.
No,
I'm glad we cleared that up.
we
No,
are-
I'm glad we
So you're
cleared
not
that
like
up.
the trainer
I'm glad we
who's
cleared
all
that up.
over the
Yeah.
internet causing a stir because she only works with people who make six figures.
No.
Absolutely. And
Right,
I do
no,
think
of
part
course
of
not.
the invitation only meant, it was more about the intake process.
Oh,
Like we had
absolutely
to
right.
come together first and make sure this is a mutually beneficial relationship.
Good. I'm glad we
Because
cleared that
we
up.
wouldn't- If we're not going to honor someone and do them service, then they need to find whoever will.
Okay, and on a personal level, I'd be curious what you would each say in terms of what you do when you, a point in your life where you sort of worked on yourself, you took your own advice. If you have a little anecdote, something that you can explain. I mean, we always do that. I found, that you certainly have to be ready in your life to make those changes. I've made a lot of changes in the last year in terms of really realizing that I'm not going to change other people. I can only change myself and how I react to other people. What's something each one of you really sort of, taught yourself or took from the methods that you teach and used it on yourself? You must have some
So many.
area. Yeah, just maybe one, particular case. Like, I'll use myself as an example. I, have had some issues within my family, my immediate family. And at the end of the day, I'm about to turn 54. I realized what's my priority. Having a good relationship with my family, spending time with my family. So I did the work for that, and now, am speaking to everyone in my family, and there is not that looming, issue over my head that I have members in my family that I haven't talked to in 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah. I would say the most recent for me, speaking to, I mentioned my dad got sick, and it was a very clear moment in time where I stopped in the parking lot and said, I will never again have to walk away from someone I love or those I love to make money. That's ending today.
Wow, that's powerful. I just got
Me too.
all the hair is standing up on my arms. That's very powerful.
That's beautiful.
And for me, it was a long time ago, but I knew at 18 that if I didn't get help at 18, I would be dead by the time I was 24. So I had to start my journey early in changing my life and everything about my life, and using everything that I learned on myself before I ever brought it anywhere outside of myself. And that deep introspection provided me a lot of empathy and experience to walk alongside people who have had a variety of experiences in their life, and I've been able to help them process it, move through it gracefully, and we get to continue doing that, just in a different way.
Yeah, because there's deep introspection might be the second most difficult thing after having children. I just think looking internally at yourself and evaluating and making changes, certainly for me, is one of the hardest things I've ever attempted to do. And let me be clear, I'm not done doing it. I'm still.
We're always evolving.
I'm still looking deep down. Okay.
We're always on a journey.
Oh, I like that. We're always on a journey.
We're always growing and evolving, right? So you work with a lot of women leaders, is that correct?
Women and men.
And men, okay. What specific challenges and strengths do you see in how women approach power, leadership, and success?
Specific strengths is when they are leading from their heart and embodying all aspects of what it means to be a female, and understanding the power that is there, and not force, but the innate power through their intuition, their femininity, their grace, their intuition, that wisdom. All of that is so powerful when a woman steps into that fully for herself. It's such a gift. It's such a gift to the world.
Do you find that men and women lead differently?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing,
Right.
right? There's
Just
no
different,
judgment.
no.
It's
Right.
different.
Just different, yeah.
It's different. And those men, and I've been really blessed to be surrounded by wonderful men in my life, especially in the business world, who have led from their heart. And to see that model gives me hope, because there's a lot of them out there. They don't maybe get a lot of credit for that. Maybe they're not as visible in certain areas, but they are out there, and I applaud them for stepping into that whole aspect of themselves, so that they are also leading from a place of who they are from their heart.
What do you think is a key component in making a business successful? Is there one? Name 2, 3 key components. What is it?
For me, the first thing that's coming to mind is embracing cooperation and not competition. The most successful people in history have embraced the concept of what's called the mastermind, surrounded themselves with those who collectively lift up, in the case of business, the organization, the leader. You don't have to know everything, you have to know who to ask.
It's a great answer. Yeah, I believe in that wholeheartedly. It's about collaboration and cooperation. It takes a village.
We say 1 + 1 = 11. We are one.
That.
I'm one. She's one. Dynamic Synergy Partners is 11. Because we're harnessing the collective mind that is created when Bridie and I are together.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, that's like, I love that saying, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So you have to make sure that everyone has what they need. You're working together. That just
It's so
makes
funny.
sense.
Again, something else is coming up for me, so I'm just going to let it go. So I was in the sauna this morning in the gym, and it was another woman that came in, and she and I knew each other, and we got chatting, and I don't know, somehow it came up. I've been working on writing a book, and it's been on my heart to write a book since I was a little girl, but I've never followed through on it, right? So I've been inspired because we've had several people on the podcast who have written books, and now I'm like, okay, well, they can do it. I can get the courage up to do the same thing. Well, anyway, I was talking to this woman about that, and she brings up so my book is about Joy of the Hang and about connection and how important it is, especially as we age, and how it can lead to a longer life if you have good communities in your life and good connections. And so she starts talking about these friends that she has, that we're talking about menopause and how the woman is now struggling to have sex because she's going through menopause, and how the men are not very they're not very sensitive to what's happening with her physically. And I said to her, it's a partnership. Like any relationship, it's a partnership, and you need to be able to communicate to your partner what's happening with you physically. If he wants to have sex and you're struggling and it hurts or whatever's happening, then you need to explain to him that it's to his benefit to help you overcome that and figure out ways that you both get your needs met. Would you agree with that? I mean, I feel like I was a psychologist in that moment. Here I am in the spa. And I said, you are responsible she's not responsible really for his pleasure. He's responsible to make sure his needs are getting met.
No, but she also needs to,
Well, she
as
wants
we talked
to
earlier
participate.
about communicating, and I think that a lot of people make assumptions that their partner or a work colleague have a certain perception or know something, and
Right.
they don't.
Right.
So
We're not mind readers,
communication,
unfortunately.
yeah, we're not.
Right.
I've said for many years, I've got lots of talents. Mind reading is not one of them. So if I've done something to offend you, or there's something I'm clearly not getting, it can be done nicely, but you need to have a conversation with me and let me know.
And we tell that to our teams, the teams that we work with all the time, that when there's a breakdown in communication, it's because someone has set an expectation for an outcome and then not communicated that expectation. Working with their shared language, working with those types of communication gaps, helping them understand how to resolve conflict in a healthy way. All of those things we help those teams and those organizations overcome and work through to get to their best outcome.
And I do think personally, this is my opinion, and I'd be curious what you would say regarding the statement I'm about to make. I would think that would be more difficult with women, because my experience in my 53 years has been, for some odd reason, women would almost rather gossip or say things behind one another's back, because when you attempt, like I feel I've done for such a large part of my life, to be direct and say, hey, Sharon, can I have a conversation with you? I need, this is bothering me. You're immediately seen as overly harsh or aggressive. And I think it just doesn't make any sense to me. so I don't know if that's because women have been from an early, age taught to be sort of quiet and not seen. And, I've gotten upset about it over the years. And I say to my husband, I just don't understand. I'm trying to be direct and have a conversation. And then I'm seen as rude and aggressive because I'm trying to have a conversation face to face about what's going on, as opposed to complaining about it behind someone's back or gossiping. And what are your thoughts on that?
We have so many.
I know. The heads are spinning in this room.
I have to almost hold back, such strong emotions when I say that, because I know I'm talking about myself, but I think I'm a kind, loving, giving person. And so it's hurtful when you are sort of told that you're blunt and, aggressive because you're trying to have a face-to-face, in-depth, meaningful conversation.
All right, Christy, you take this one
Take it
first.
away.
I can see that
Take it away.
Bridie wants to jump in, but we're going to let Christy take this one first.
No. Oh my goodness, there's so many different ways we could go with the conversation, Lauren. But just to begin with, unfortunately, women have been taught to be competitors instead of collaborators. That there's only enough space for one of us to win, not all of us to win. And that if I tell you directly how I'm feeling, I'm bossy, I'm the B word, I'm rude, aggressive, all of these things that are misapplied to those of us who are strong and confident and know our worth and know that it's easier to have a difficult conversation face to face than to pretend I'm okay and talk about you behind your back. So are we talking to you or about you? I want to talk to you because I want to be in relationship with you. Many women struggle with being in relationship with other women because they've been taught that you're my competition and that the sisterhood is this false something, right? Or, there's just so many things that are wrong with how women have been taught.
It's heartbreaking.
And then we were taught we have to show up like a man in the work world, and we can't have any emotions, and if we do, then we're going to be relegated over here. So we've put on this armor, we've put on this facade, and I see there's hope for women more today because we're willing to have these kinds of conversations.
Good, I'm glad. That makes me happy.
Breaking down those silos, breaking down those walls. We actually had someone say to us a couple of months ago, gosh, I'm surprised you guys are still working together. Most of the time, women start fighting and then the business falls apart. And that made me so sad because that was another woman saying that. And she was almost like looking for there to be a rift or to create a rift or to even create that seed of doubt that Bridie doesn't have my back 1,000%, I don't have her back 1,000%. Yeah. And I didn't say anything because we were in a public place and I just didn't feel the timing was right. But if I could say something to her today, it would be, stop it. Stop putting and making a story where there is no story because you are afraid of what it means to be close to another woman.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything to that, Bridie?
I do.
Okay.
I think a big part of what Christy just said about, women were taught to claw our way to the top and there's only room for one. And historically, that's because we've always been left out of the most important conversations. Back to those most successful people in history that I just talked about, they were all men. Right back to the time of Socrates, they were men coming together in these groups of intellects to pass on sacred information and to share the importance of collaboration.
Yeah, how many women's signatures are on the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah.
Can someone remind me?
And it's why, because we were so fortunate to have the mentors that we had in our lives that were so passionate about bringing that sacred secret information to women now, because we've always been left out of those conversations.
And who were the mentors in your life, since you brought it up? Who were the mentors in your life?
Well, one was a gentleman who was a 33rd degree Freemason. He's still alive, so I'm not going to tell you his name.
Okay, wow.
And then another later in life was someone who openly left the Brotherhood.
Interesting.
Same.
Same, okay, interesting.
But two different locations, two different people, but the same storyline.
Well, I'm glad you answered that question, and I'm glad that you both have suggested that, there's hope in our future with women realizing that there's room for all of us at the top, because I've said repeatedly that, I hear women complain about men all the time, and I always am very loud in voicing my opinion that, women are far crueler to one another, and have no reason to be.
It does surprise me, though, not to interrupt you, it does surprise me, though, that you said women are raised to be competitive, because most sports are men. I mean, women's sports are just now coming into being more popular. But from an early age, I mean, men, to me, have been the ones that have been raised to be competitive.
But I don't even think with sports. I think, when
even
you said that, I was sort of thinking, my mind went to, having a boyfriend, getting a husband.
Yes.
Oh, that's where women...
Yeah.
the pretty girl. Yeah.
We're all the prettiest girl in the room, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
And for me, we are the catalyst for change. If we're modeling how to have a fabulous relationship with a female and how to have difficult conversations with that person if it needs to happen, how to invite women into your circle and to keep the story sacred, vault that space, and when you hear someone gossiping, shut it down. If we aren't willing to do that, then of course it's going to continue. But the more we're willing to talk to each other about whatever's bothering us or whatever hopes and dreams we have, and then to be the witness to those stories, to those opportunities, to those life events, we can change the world. And I think that's what many people are really afraid of. Because when we step into our power, we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
We're unstoppable.
Christy got excited because our dog just entered the room. I don't know how Murphy got upstairs. He doesn't belong up here, but he is visiting.
Well, we have this little.
He's visiting our podcast.
This little moment of pause. I need to take the conversation ever so slightly back to when you were having your first meeting, and maybe conceptually coming up with what the business was going to be. And I believe you mentioned something about Bridie's bourbon room.
That's my
No,
Your
Christy,
bourbon room. Can we have a conversation about this? The bourbon room.
The bourbon room.
That sort of came and went very fast, and all my mind is thinking what is it? How do I get invited there? Is it exclusive? So can we have a little information about the bourbon room?
The bourbon room is just a room about maybe a little bit smaller than this, and it overlooks our backyard or pool, and we live on the water. We're very fortunate in that way. And it has these beautiful chairs, and it's just the perfect place to either have coffee or bourbon or a glass of wine. And it's all about creating connection and community with the people that are in that room, and the conversations that happen are wonderful and beautiful, and it's just a place that we love to be.
Pick me.
Be happy to have both of you.
I love that.
I thought you'd never ask. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. If there's a party involved, Lauren is there.
It's so true. A party
Or a
with
glass of
other
wine.
women, I am all in.
I'm just going to warn you, Christy, if you have wine at your house, it has to be a glass with a stem if Lauren's coming, or she can bring her own. I'm just letting you know. She's a little bit high maintenance, I'm just telling you.
Well, and let me say,
It's all about the stem.
But Sharon and I do have a friend who likes her cocktails as well, and she once said to me, Lauren, it's not about being high maintenance or bougie. There's nothing wrong with, albeit you do it, of course, politely, but asking for exactly what you want. And this particular friend of mine just last week was looking for a drink in a sniffer glass, and the younger waitress had no idea what that was, so she sort of described it to her. And I don't think I've ever laughed that hard looking at a cocktail in my life. The waitress brought her back a drink in what can only be described as a fishbowl. Now, I have never seen any glass like that in this restaurant. So then, as she put it down in front of us and left, we were trying to wonder, were there rocks in this, at the bar holding flowers, or where did she get this fishbowl? So
she was an overachiever, though. I like that.
You know what?
Good for her.
She came back with
above
something
and
as
beyond.
close to a sniffer as I guess one could find. But I want to leave anyone listening to this no doubt. It was a fishbowl.
She went above and beyond.
It's A+ for
A+ for
Definitely.
effort, for sure.
A+ for effort.
All right, some quick fire and closing questions. What's one non-negotiable in your daily routines that keeps you aligned?
Every single day we start, before anything else, by reading our annual, our quarterly, our monthly, and our weekly intentions.
Oh, okay.
And every Friday, we carve out time in the schedule to celebrate weekly wins.
Oh, I like that.
Non-negotiable. Literally.
Non-negotiable. I love that.
That's great, because that's something that anybody can add into their repertoire. I think Sharon and I are going to start doing that.
Yeah, I like that. So do you write them at the beginning of the year and then you just refer to them every day? And
We do, and as things change, we update them.
Okay.
It's a living document, and this is one
All
of the
right.
things that Dynamic Synergy Partners teaches its organizational clients.
Yeah.
We do this also with the private clients, but specifically for the organizational clients, they need to understand how important their intentions or their goals are that they're living. They're dynamic. The world changes every single day, and in order for them to be successful, they need to be resilient and quick to adapt. That agility in their mindset and then in how they show up makes all the difference in the world and how they react and respond to the threats and opportunities that are in front of them.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. What is a book, quote, or practice that changed your life? I know. I'm throwing some out there.
Well, I'll share a book that probably no one's ever heard of because it was banned for a very, very long time, and it's by Napoleon Hill, called The Law of Success in 16 Lessons.
I like Napoleon Hill. I don't know that I've read that one.
That's because that book was banned, and it was actually watered down many times.
Why was it banned?
Because, so Napoleon, I'll tell you, would you like to hear the
Yeah,
story?
I'd love to hear the story.
At the turn of the century, of the last century, now that we have to say that.
Right?
Napoleon Hill was a young journalist, and he was hired to interview Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man in the world at the time, also a member of the Brotherhood. Andrew Carnegie was so impressed by Napoleon Hill, he said, I want to hire you. Well, there's some debate about whether he did it for free or not, but he didn't become a member of the secret society, but he basically took him on as an apprentice, and he introduced him to all of the people who were part of the society, and he hired for 20 years. He followed over 100 of the most successful people in the world: Henry Ford, Firestein, Einstein, Thomas Edison. I mean, on and on and on and on the list, right? And it was written specifically. He was to determine what made these men so successful.
Yeah.
Particularly with the threat of money. That was financial success, but it was overall success. And so he wrote the book, finally, 20 years later, and the members of the society lost their mind because he
Revealed
way
secrets.
too much information. Henry Ford led the charge to get the book banned, and it was taken, and it was watered down either 2 or 3 times, I cannot remember exactly. And eventually, the book that everybody is familiar
Is it Think and
with,
Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich is what was released.
That's the one I read.
And that was the one that they were okay with
Okay.
because it was watered down enough that the real secrets weren't told. But
Yeah, okay.
now that all of those gentlemen are no longer here,
Yeah.
the real book has been released.
Really? Okay. So now I can go back and find it.
Incredibly dry. It's not entertaining.
Not
but
entertaining.
It's,
I love
it's
Think
over
and Grow
1,000
Rich,
pages
though.
thick,
That was-
and,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But
Wow.
yes,
That's fascinating. You keep referring to the Secret Society and the Brotherhood. What is that for those of us that don't know and the listeners? Can you explain what that was or is? Or
Sure.
Yeah.
They're again, it's always been traditionally men, but there's nothing woo-woo or creepy or weird about it. Has always been gatherings of intellectuals with senior members mentoring apprentice mentors and passing down wisdom through the ages. There's a very public one at Yale University called Skull and Bones, and all of the presidents, or many of them, were members of that. I mean, it's just, but as I said before, back to the time of Socrates, it's about that sacred wisdom being passed down purely in its
To men.
original form.
Yeah. And to men.
From one to another. From
Yeah.
all to always to men.
Fascinating. Do you have one, Christy, that comes to mind?
I'm a voracious reader,
Yeah.
and the one that just keeps coming back to me is M. Scott Peck's The Road Less Traveled.
Yeah, I have that one too. It's on my shelf. Yeah.
And, that...
It's a great one.
It is a great book. And one of the very first lines in that book says that life is difficult. And when you realize
Isn't it, though?
that life is difficult,
Yeah.
then everything becomes easy.
Right.
And you can find a different pathway. But it's the mindset of understanding that there's going to be challenges and that there's going to be obstacles. And it's all in how you look at those challenges, obstacles, opportunities that determines what happens behind the next door.
Right. I love the thought of that path, which path you choose, and sometimes I think even when I'm driving home, like there'll be a car accident, that happened like 5 minutes before I got there. And had I not gone this, it could have been me, it's those little choices we make in our lives.
But I like that because life is difficult and you can make changes, and I've had a lot less anxiety once I sort of realized that really what the anxiety was just me doubting that I could deal with the situation. And once I started to try and change the narrative for every time I'm having one of these little issues and think, okay, yes, this sucks, this is difficult, but I might not be able to fix it tomorrow, but I can definitely deal with it. It has made my life so much, I've had so much less anxiety in my life once I realized that.
Absolutely.
All right, if each of you could whisper one truth into the ear of every ambitious woman, what would it be? I'm really putting you guys on the spot.
I think for me it would be you were born enough.
You were born enough. I like that.
I would echo that. It sounds cliche. And so many different people, from Brene Brown to Jamie Lee McKern, talk about you are worthy, you are enough. And yet we still don't believe it. And you are enough. You were born for a purpose. You are here for a reason. And the world needs you to be you, fully you, 100%, out loud, unapologetically, for the world to become a better place.
I like that.
Yay. I know, that was great. So final question before we wrap up, and I told you what it was going to be. So I'm assuming you've been thinking about this. What is one piece of advice that you would give your younger self? So we're going to bring younger Bridie into the room first. So what are you saying?
I would tell younger Bridie, celebrate every outcome. And one day you'll understand the math behind it.
I like that. Younger Christy is here. What are you going to say to younger Christy?
It's all going to be okay.
Yeah, we get that one a lot.
Yeah, we do.
We get that one a lot. It's all going to be okay.
Because in a moment when something's going wrong, you think that it's the worst thing that ever happened to you. Your life is over. And it'd also be nice if other people would use that saying. You know, I was saying the other day that sometimes parents, I think, need to realize that instead of lecturing their kid or niece or nephew or student, just give them a hug and tell them that you love them and everything is going to be okay. You know, sometimes that we all need to just hear that.
Now, how can our listeners get a hold of you? What's the best way if they want to work with you and use your services?
They can reach out to us on our website, dynamicsynergypartners.com.
Okay.
They can find us on LinkedIn at Dynamic Synergy Partners Inc. They can text me. we actually have a retreat coming up this fall called Synergy Shift.
And that's in October, right?
Yeah,
That's the one I mentioned.
October 16th through the 18th. It's in Siesta Key, their private estate. It is going to be fabulous.
Sounds amazing. And how many people can come to the retreat? 9, okay.
9. Each guest will have their own private bedroom, their own private bath.
All right.
There'll be a field trip to be swanky as one of the surprise and delights in the evening.
I love that.
We've got a private chef coming to do a pasta class. It's going to be fabulous.
All right.
But the daytime work will be this deep transformational sharing of the secrets.
Sign up soon, ladies. That one's going to fill up fast. Do you have a few slots available?
We do, just a few.
Okay, just a few. Is this your first of many?
We've done this before.
Okay.
But this is the first that we're doing like this.
Okay.
Where we're really taking it beyond just a single day.
Yes. So for anyone interested in that, text the word synergy
Okay.
to
417-417-1185.
Okay. Got it. And do you have any social media? Instagram, TikTok?
We're on Instagram,
Facebook?
TikTok.
Okay.
We're on Instagram and LinkedIn primarily.
Okay.
And we share wisdom several times a week and fun things on our Fun Fridays. And
we name every day of the week.
yes.
I love that. Why not?
Today
Why
is
not?
Take Action Tuesday.
I love it.
We call it Tease It Tuesday because a new episode drops every Wednesday at 6 a.m.
Oh,
So we tease the new episode on Tuesdays when we remember and can find the time to do it. But that's our goal. Tease It Tuesdays.
Tease It Tuesday.
Yeah, and you call Wednesdays Hump Day.
Hump Day.
There's Motivational Monday, right? What do you do on Thursday?
Thriving Thursday.
Thriving Thursday and
Wealthy
Friday.
Wednesday.
Wealthy Wednesday. Oh, I like
Oh, I
yours.
like that.
Yeah, let's get wealthy.
Forget the camel. I'll take Wealthy Wednesday any
Momentum
day.
Monday. And Friday, what's Friday?
Fun Friday.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Fun day, no, Sunday fun day. Fun Friday. So do you have Saturday and Sunday too?
Synergy Saturday and Sacred Sunday.
Aww.
Sacred Sunday. I like that.
All right, I love you guys. Thank you for coming and for being part of our hang squad today. We've really appreciated having you here. Lauren, do you have
that
any
was
final
great.
thoughts? Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. It's been our pleasure.
And to our listeners, we say
Peace out, Girl Scout.
peace out till next time.